Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second session of Module 1 of Discovering Your Quantum Self. And tonight we're talking about playing in the field of all that is. And we're going to look a little bit more closely into some of the basic principles around quantum physics that personally helped inform me in my healing journey and now in the work that I do with others. And I really did find, I've explained this several times to several people and just kind of alluded to it, that just having an understanding of some of these scientific principles really helped me get some of the spiritual stuff that had been talked about, but it seemed to cut right to why. So that's some of the stuff we're going to go into in this presentation. But before doing that, I want to kind of set the field and get ourselves energetically attuned to what wants to come through, so that each one who listens and watches receives exactly what he or she needs in order to move forward according to their soul's plan. So let's take a moment now to kind of settle in. So we've talked about relaxing your brain and just allowing it now, picturing and allowing your brain to just settle down into the base of your skull. It doesn't move, of course, but it relaxes. And breathing in and breathing out, letting your brain get heavier and heavier with every out breath, so that you begin to feel the energy flowing out of your brain and down into your heart. And then drop the focus of your awareness, the weight of your awareness down into the heart. And take a breath into the heart. A couple of them. And kind of wake up the field of the heart. This great antenna to bring in higher information. And then allow your awareness to float upward as if a great band of energy was floating up and down with the breath, connecting your heart and your mind, so that as we listen and learn and experience, all of us will be bringing in more than we could do if we just relied on the gray matter upstairs at all. So thank you very much for participating in that with me and just feeling that energy flow out of you into the space where you are, kind of shifting the energy around you so that you can participate quietly, and shifting into an awareness too of everyone who is participating on this call, that together we're really stepping into a very powerful place of transformation, renewal, healing, and limitless possibility. So let's begin. So the important thing to remember is not about learning the science. When I was exploring some of these things further for my own study, I started reading some of the science behind it, and honestly, there's way more than I could deal with, and that needs to be dealt with. There's some basic principles that these wonderful quantum physicists on the cutting edge of the science are bringing forward to us that absolutely make so much sense about how we can engage with reality in a new way to make these healing, transformational changes in our lives so much easier. So they become actually not a lot of head knowledge anymore, but it's a language that allows us to really grasp with a whole brain some of these spiritual principles, these energetic principles, and become a portal for us to go into a higher state of awareness, consciousness, and connection. So it is a language that gives our left brain some understanding. We've talked about this before, that when the left brain has an understanding of why we do visualization, why we do breathing, why we meditate, why we do yoga, that it actually is creating physiological changes as well as energetic changes. When we have a whole brain buy-in, the effects of whatever we're doing are increased, and statistics say 32%. So understanding these principles and understanding how to work with them and play with them makes us much more powerful co-creators. So in my own case, you know, you hear these spiritual exhortations to be here now. Well, okay, what does that mean and how do I do that? Here, I'm in this room, sitting in this room. Okay, fine. But what is here and what is now? And so through some of this study, we'll be able to have a better understanding of really what's here and really what now is. It's much more than we can conceive. And also, we are one with all that is. Yes, we're all one, but we look at the chaos and confusion around us and think, hey, I'm not so one with that stuff. But understanding it from a higher level, it gives a better picture of the fact indeed that we are all are part of one teeming sea of consciousness, each expressing consciousness as it arises in us, through us, as us, bringing more to the whole. So understanding some of these principles and procedures and practices and knowing how to navigate and play gives me permission every day to be outrageous. And I've discovered that in my own healing and in my own life transformation. The universe loves to play, and it loves to see us step forward and engage with it, even as we're sort of taking these tentative steps out into, gosh, is it okay to go here? Absolutely, it's okay. We're being brought on like a baby that's learning to take a few steps. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. And so that's how we have to treat ourselves. We are infants in this field. And yet our souls and the whole of the universe is saying, yeah, come on, guys, you humans down there, you're evolving. And when the higher realms and the ages and the eons are thrilled to see us waking up and stepping into our place in the evolution of what it means to be human. Changing it, absolutely changing it. No more enslaved to programming of the past that keeps us in limitation, in fear, in doubt, and playing small. We are co-creators. And by understanding how the universe is put together and how it works, gives us more power and more ability to jump in and play and create and make everything better. So I was reading the other day, and a book I'd read before, but I decided to pick it up again and refresh myself and kind of get myself inspired. And one of the phrases I came across, and I absolutely love this, that the sea of all that is, the quantum field, the field of all that is, get this, and this is very, very cool. It's a sea of potential without a mechanism for expressing itself. And I realized that we are that mechanism. We are that mechanism. We allow, as we engage and dance and swim in this sea and play with it and allow it to swim in us, we are the mechanism through which the sea of all that is expresses itself. Each of us in our own way, in our own time, with our own personalities, our own stories, our own lives. Everything that we bring, this whole package that we bring, is a mechanism by which universal consciousness gets to play and express and create. So let's not hold back any further. Let's all look for now, where can I push it further out? What step can I take today safely to go a little further and create a little more knowing and appreciating and apprehending and understanding and embodying a little bit more today than I did yesterday. So when we interact with life this way, for me, it actually obliterated the duality and separation between spiritual and material, or my human life, or what they call reality, and spiritual. That distinction does not exist. It was something that was held over from the past and is often used to kind of put down the idea of being human and making our human lives less than, that somehow, and traditional religions have seemed to put this out. And so the less life you live, the less life you embody, seems to be more spiritual, that you'll get your reward someday. But that's no longer true. We've evolved past that. Many of us have. That this is the classroom of my soul and spirit. This is the curriculum that my soul is walking in its path to realize on an everyday, moment-to-moment level that every single part of my human life is fully spiritual as well as fully human. That is our destiny and that is our birthright. And that's what we're learning how to walk into. And when we do, it makes human life absolutely amazing. We see a lot going on in the world now where that's not the case. There's still that battle going on, and it's really coming up, of ugliness and fear and separation and being victims and being limited, being under the circumstances, powerless, giving power away to others who say they're going to save us and fix us. We are sovereign beings. This is our destiny and our birthright. And as we heal, we step into that sort of energetic sovereignty, releasing the chains of our lineages, which we're going to talk about next week, our families, our enculturation through our perhaps cultural heritage, or religious heritage, where on the planet we live. All these things play a part in this package that's here, that's presenting now. And as we release that, we step into being able to be sovereign beings of light with our souls living fully and expressing in ways perhaps we never dreamed were possible. So we've played in some experiences of being in the quantum field, and I took you on a couple of journeys, and you felt into some of the sense of this web, this undulating web of light and information, just sort of undulating on like a very still sea, but still moving and pulsating. And then out of that arises forms and figures like a tapestry, landscapes and sights and people. So I want to present to you that the sea of consciousness, the sea of potentiality, it's like this plasma-like substance, and out of it arises the particles, the photons, the molecules, the electrons, that then go from potentiality to possibility. And when we interact with those with our attention and intention, we actually bring them further to coalesce into the forms we know as our material reality. And this includes our bodies as well. So everything exists in this field. Everything that has been, everything that could be, it's numberless. So not only is it a flat thing, it's got depth and substance. It's multi-dimensional. Every possibility, which is beyond numbering, beyond imagining, because we can only go so far yet. Everything already exists. Every potentiality and possibility exists and is encoded for in this field. So note this, everything that you long for, everything that you wish you could be, that you wish you could feel or experience, everything is already existing on some level in that field of possibility. And so those undulating waves, so if there was nothing happening, it would be perfectly still. That was how I conceive of it before creation. So it's the swell of possibility that has this information and these molecules and photons kind of rising up like a wave in the ocean, rising up to be noticed. And so when we feel something, feel a longing to change, to grow, to make something different about our lives, that's because there's a wave in that sea of potential that somehow got our vibration on it. We are spinning. Everything spins. So those molecules and photons are spinning. And as they gather together, they form an idea. And as we have, as we're on that wavelength, as we're spinning in coherence with that, it gives that more potentiality. And so often, how many times have we said, oh, I could never. I don't have the money, I'm too old, oh, I could never, I don't have the training, I don't have the time, whatever. And it goes back in again. And yet, we still feel it. We still feel a pull. And we've been taught, we've been conditioned so often and so much that we somehow think that those desires and longings that we have are just our ego mind and just fantasy. What if it's your soul? What if it's your soul? What if that is your divine soul self calling out and saying, come on. I've planted this in you. This is what your soul wants. This is what your soul is longing for. To pull it into existence through you and your life. So listen to those things. Listen to them. Sit down with a notebook and get quiet. Have a cup of something or a glass of something and just sit there and listen to what's going on down in here. What do you feel? What's longing to be birthed in you? Somewhere in the ethers that's pulsating and it's got your name on it and it's calling you. Saying, yeah, let's play. Let's play. You leave the how up to me. Just dream. Just say yes to the fact that this would feel good. I would like this. I would like it. For no other reason than it would feel good and you would like it. We're so used to having everything have to mean something and be appropriate or, some whatever. Is it God's will? Or some practical reason. That's the left brain, the conditioned mind, which inherently is programmed to resist change. Remember that. Your left brain wants to resist change. It has a vested interest in keeping things the same. Even if that same eventually kills you. You'll go down, but yeah, that ego will be intact. And so we've talked about and we'll continue to talk about ways to soothe the left brain and kind of trick it into being okay and introducing these changes in a way that your brain, your programming, your neural networks, and your wiring can accept. So when we go out into these quantum understandings of how we're wired and what makes us up, we can actually go beyond the programming to understand what's operating and how and why, begin to make changes at that level and bring it down into this level. And that somehow that allows the left brain to say, okay, all right, okay. So you start releasing and purging the old files and bringing new, fresh data in with which you can make different choices. So nothing can be conceived. Nothing can be conceived unless it already exists in the field, because everything's there. You wouldn't even have a thought. We say it comes out of left field. Well, yeah, the left part of the field of consciousness, okay, fine. But it's there, and you're vibrating at a resonant frequency with it. So don't discount that. Don't discount that. Don't judge yourself, and don't beat yourself up because you're dissatisfied. I have a good life. I should be satisfied. No, just listen to it. You don't have to go crazy with it, but just note the dreams that persist over the years, the longings and the desires of your heart. Make note of them and just write them down. Write them down in a notebook somewhere on a piece of paper. Stick it in your underwear drawer. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Just by taking that action, you give the universe permission to say, okay, yeah, she's listening, she's tuned in. And go further. It might happen. It could very well happen, and why not? We are limitless, co-creative beings, and that is our heritage and our destiny and our birthright. That's where we're going. That's our evolutionary path. So remember, it's the field of possibility looking for expression. And the fact that you are thinking of it shows that you're tuned to the wavelength of it. You are in coherence with that desire to some degree, or you wouldn't be desiring it. Got that? So here's another thing. We somehow think that we're thinking out there and it's just us. We're kind of in this box of feeling separate. The thing is that these possibility waves that sort of rise out of the sea of consciousness, we're one of them. We're one of them. We are a possibility wave and a potentiality wave. And when our souls and our parents got together and we came in, we're here. This is the manifestation of something that the universe wanted to express. These packages that we embody with everything that we are on the physical, mental, emotional, energetic levels, with our history, our gifts, talents, abilities, our weaknesses, our screw-ups, the things we're ashamed of, the things we feel stupid about. Everything, that is the universe expressing itself. Here we are, kids. This is the universe right here. So just as we are conscious of that, the universe is conscious of us. We're learning that this is a living connection. The universe is alive. It's not this thing out there somewhere. We are connecting all the time. The universe is very, very aware of every heartbeat, every molecular spin, every time a hair falls out. There's so many Bible things that when you put it into a quantum physics model, makes so much more sense than just leaving it in that biblical model. It's amazing. So the universe is aware of us, and consciousness works both ways. And get this, the universe likes to play. The universe loves it when the newbies say, what if I just said I really would like to manifest something? And you think of something. Son of a gun, if it doesn't show up, it might take a little while. But you'll remember. The universe wants to play. It wants us to learn. Remember the analogy of the little kid learning to walk. The parents, you don't get punished because you only took one step. It's a huge deal. Pictures get taken and videos get taken, and the parents go crazy and act like idiots. Yeah, because you took a step. You took your first step. That's how the universe is with us. So what does your heart long for? Sit down. Know that the universe is conscious of you and is encouraging you to follow the desires of your heart. It placed them there for a reason. And so when you even acknowledge the validity of what you might be feeling and desiring, it may turn out to be something else. But the universe will guide your path. If you start down this road, it's like, it's not exactly this vision, but it's over here. You'll be guided. You take the first step and the universe applauds you and encourages you with the next one. So as we go forward here, that we're not just doing hard science stuff, and we're not just doing heavy duty inner healing stuff. This is ushering us out of the little scared, frightened, self-judging boxes that we have put ourselves in, and the universe is inviting us to come play in the field of magic and miracles. Our brains are ready to go. We have the capacity in our brains and our nervous systems to go there. And this process that we're in is about expanding the bandwidth, expanding out and stretching out into more ways of bringing in information, of having the box in our heads get a little bit bigger. Every day, a little bit bigger. One more thing comes in that you can say, okay, I can go there. Okay, I can go there. But we have to be shown the next step, and it has to relate to something that we already know. So we can't just take a leap into something, because the way our brains work and are wired is that when a new concept is presented, it has to be like something that we already have a neural network set up to understand and comprehend. And so I call it it tastes like chicken theory. So when you always hear that. Somebody says, here, taste these frog legs, or here, rattlesnake, or in South America, roasted guinea pig is a delicacy. But yeah, it's like, ooh, I don't think I want to do that. But no, it tastes like chicken. It tastes like chicken. And so you say, okay, I can relate to that. That's what it's going to taste like. So you try it, and pretty soon the box gets bigger, and you've brought in rattlesnake, frog leg, and gophers, whatever they are, groundhogs, no, whatever they are. So the box gets bigger, and so it is with all of this. Baby steps. Try something. Try an experiment. Think of something you'd like to have. Maybe you need a little bit more cash this month. Do an experiment with the universe and just put out there something that you'd like to show up. Maybe it's as simple as, I would like to see a quarter lying on the ground somewhere and notice it. Maybe you need to start small. We do this with parking places, right? So start small and just tentatively reach out to the universe. Say, show me something I don't know. Bring something to me in a totally unexpected way that there could be no mistake that this is coming from the universe. Whatever pops into your head that you'd like to try, go for that and just see what happens. Give it a couple of days, give it like 48 hours for something unexpected to show up. And you'll know what it is. You'll play with it and just decide what it is. Maybe you want somebody to say something to you, or I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just a little game that you're playing. So it's very important. Play is very, very important that we play with this stuff. So I want to give you another thing that the whole idea around words, they convey, there's a context and there's an energy about the words. And the word work. The word work is very much associated with our left brain. Work. It's a 4-letter word, for one thing. And it involves being arduous. Something's work. It's hard. You got to do it. You got to show up. It's something usually we'd rather be doing something else. There, it carries with it a very much of a sense of good job, bad job, success, failure, good performance, bad performance. So there's that good, bad duality going there. And there's a fear around it. You know, you're kind of on a little bit of edge to make sure you're doing it right versus doing it wrong. But when you think of play, that's very much right-brained. It's very much right-brained, and it's very much possibility-oriented. It just follows, and it goes, and you don't know exactly where it's going to go. But it takes all the pressure off. You feel the difference? Feel the difference in your head when we think about work. Now think about play. The pressure's gone, and there's like an open feeling that it's kind of open-ended, and there's more possibility. When I was changing my life and I made a list of the things that I wanted to bring into my life, you know, the kind of place I wanted to live, and at the top of the list was work that doesn't feel like work. And I believe I have it. I didn't know what it looked like at the time because I really wasn't in this place at the time, but here it is. And it's astounding. So give the universe a chance to show you what it can do, because it loves it. So, oh yeah. I had I get little vision-y things a lot. And one time I got a vision of a dog bringing a ball. So the universe with this stuff, okay, this is going to help you with this experiment and with feeling like you can step forward into doing more and giving into your desires. So the dog comes, and I had a dog until actually a year ago now, my goodness. Almost a year. But he would come and he would bring the tennis ball and he'd put it down at my feet and he'd look up at me and he'd wiggle his tail and he'd just be kind of like, and of course I'd be doing whatever I'm doing. I'm online or whatever I'm doing. And so he, with his nose, he'd nudge the ball closer, look. And then he'd pick it up, put it in my lap. He wanted to play, wanted to play, wanted to play. This is the universe. So when you have these desires and these what ifs and these, ooh, yeah, feelings, and then we think, oh, go away, gotta get serious. That's the universe bringing you a ball. So get up and throw it. Throw the ball and let the universe bring it back to you and see where you go with that. So have fun and play and give it a try. Do an experiment. Okay. So moving into the part where we talk about some of the scientific stuff. So there were 4 things that I used, and I wrote a paper on this for my training. It was my dissertation. I took 4 very, very basic, simple principles of quantum physics to work with, and to explain how they can be used in our transformation in healing work, because I use this when I work with clients. And those of you who are training for breath work, you will be using these for clients too. And look how much farther, look at the biggest space you can open for your clients to step into even greater potential and healing. So yeah, I mean, you'll be amazing when you start using this stuff with your clients. So, so we have some left brain understanding. It gives us some left brain understanding of how we can why this stuff works. You're not just randomly creating magic, but you know how the game is played, how the universe is set up, and it gives you permission to go in and do crazy stuff and get crazy results. So instead of working by trial and error, trying to figure things out, or assuming that everything is just random, or that there's some big guy in the sky who sort of doles out little goodies here and there if you're good enough. So it does away with all of that. So the 4 things are the concepts, and you might have even heard of some of these, but the fact of waves and particles, that all matter exists, all particles, everything is either a wave of possibility or a particle when it collapses into particle state. In truth, the real thing is it's neither wave nor particle, and it's both wave and particle, can be more than one place at a time, and it only reacts, it only does something when it's being interacted with by our attention and consciousness. So that's how everything that we see in the world, this is all virtual reality. It has all been pulled forth and translated by these brains of ours into what we see as the stuff of physical life, including these bodies of ours. So when you get into these states, you can actually, your body disappears and you feel like you're nothing but light. And some of you have had experiences like that, where you're just flowing. You can feel the particles of light and you're flowing with the molecules of light. And you get into that state where you are in that higher awareness, perceiving yourself from that higher consciousness state that's opening your brain to allow more information to come in to the database, different, new, up-to-date information, getting rid of the old DOS files from 1976 or whatever it was. So waves and particles. The other is morphic fields. And so waves and particles behave and then coalesce into these morphic fields. I'm going to take them apart and talk about them a little bit. Then we go into how these morphic fields intersect and entangle and come together to create interference patterns. We'll talk a little bit about neutrality and surrender, because that's how we get into working with this, and the field of the heart. That is, again, how we become attuned. The field of the heart is like an antenna that brings these waves and this information into our bodies. So a little bit about waves and particles. So we talked about the waves of possibility decohering, so they don't separate. So this is an important thing. As we heal our sense of separation from each other, from the world, our sense of being an isolated being, one way that helps us is to realize, and this came in meditation one morning, that it's not that we've separated, but we have differentiated out. So it's functional differentiation, not separation. So I'm an expression of the one. I am still the one. And that's, when I stop, I'll dissolve back into the one, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I do that when I go into meditation or do a breath session. I just kind of slide into the one, and I'm just this wave of possibility again. And that feels really quite delicious, actually. So each wave then, we get into, there's spin, there's a torsion field, and there's scalar waves. And these waves of energy, they think that our thoughts are actually scalar waves. They exist above the electromagnetic plane. So it's like the scalar waves are even higher and finer and more delicate than, or powerful than, the electromagnetic waves, which we see as light and sound. We live in an electromagnetic spectrum. It's duality, polarity, positive, negative, light, dark. The scalar waves, they say, there are some scientists who believe that our thoughts carry scalar waves. They come in and hit the electromagnetic spectrum of photons, molecules, and particles and create experience and form. And so these possibilities rise up. We have our chakras are all like torsion fields that both take in and emit these high, fine frequencies of information and light that then create and uncreate. So the waves of possibility. So everything is a wave of possibility until it is interacted with, until it is identified, labeled, and called into being. And then the wave of possibility collapses into whatever we have decided it is. And so that's how we call things into being. And we see that every day in our lives when we label, when we judge. We have labeled certain things because it makes life on this plane easy and convenient and quite less messy. Tables and chairs and houses and boxes and cars. It helps us function on this plane, but they're all imaginary. Because way up there, it's all, we're thinking. We think and we get somewhere. Down here, we need a car to go or a plane or something. Up there, we think and we've communicated the thought. Down here, we need a cell phone or a computer or something. Or we need language. Up there in those high, fine bands of knowing that are still waves of possibility, it all exists without the stuff that we have labeled it out. So these are particles. Now this goes for assessments and judgments too, about ourselves. I am overweight. I'm getting old. I have these crazy dreams that I'm just dissatisfied with my life and I just want to do it and I shouldn't do it because it's ridiculous. Those kinds of things. Or that person is blah, blah, blah. Or that is no good. So we judge and we label and the universe says, okay. And so whatever was a possibility has now decohered and collapsed into a thing. And so all the photons and molecules are vibrating to keep that thing in place. And so I discovered after this that I found myself whenever I would be like, something would bother me, somebody would say something and I would feel charged, I would feel triggered, I would feel annoyed, I would disagree or whatever, or feel frightened. I found myself doing this unplugging thing, and some of you may have seen it, but I found myself, and I didn't plan it, it was really kind of funny, but I would literally put my hands up and take a breath and step back, physically pull back. And it was kind of a funny little thing. But what I was doing was literally unplugging my judgment from that thing that showed up in front of me. And consciously making the determination that I was going to allow it to go out of particle state and go back into a state of a wave of possibility. I deliberately was choosing to withdraw my attention and my judgment and assessment of whatever it was, and deliberately kind of sending a message to the universe, allow that thing to become a wave of possibility. And honestly, it was pretty amazing because I saw stuff change, really saw stuff change. Like somebody would call up and say, oh yeah, you know, that's not going to happen after all, it's going to be this instead. Or simply I would get another perspective on it, that I learn something or be able to step into a more neutral place, whatever, that allowed me to view it from a different light. But things changed. It was amazing. So that really taught me. So again, you know, the baby learning to walk. The universe says, yeah, good, keep going, got that. So noticing what you attach judgment to, and unplug and see what it can become. Literally pull the plug on your assessment and label and see what can happen. Let it go back into possibility state. Let everything go back into possibility state and see where your life goes. Interesting, huh? So waves and particles. Then these waves of possibility, again, through and particles, the particles, because of our attention and our just the more and more attention, they give rise to, it gives rise to these particles turning into a morphic field. And these morphic fields are, they're torsion fields, like the chakras. They spin and they have mass and gravity and movement and power, and they pull things into them. And after my experience with cancer, I learned to see everything in terms of morphic fields. I had an experience where I saw myself one day, and you know, the doctors all tell you this stuff, don't worry, honey, we'll take care of you. It's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Everything's fine, but you have to do this, this, and this. And so I was getting like sucked in, even though I didn't believe in that. And so I had this vision again one day, and I saw myself. I was like at the bottom of this funnel of spinning something. And my hand was up there, and it was full size, my hand reaching up. And it was like I was being flushed down a toilet, literally. You know, I felt like I was being flushed down, and I said, help me. It's pulling me in and I can't get out. And I learned afterwards, Dr. Richard Bartlett, and I think his book, Matrix Energetics, he said some morphic fields are so huge and so powerful that we can't pull out of their influence by ourselves. We need help. And cancer is one of them. So the people around me, you know, the support people I had, actually the Matrix Energetics and Dr. Hector Garcia helped me to build enough strength inside myself that I was able to pull out. And then I could see the morphic, I could see the field of energy, the spinning energy that pulls in everything around it. And it builds its strength by fear. The stories, we're all petrified, you know? The attention, the awareness campaigns, the research, the greed, the money, all the awareness that has gone into the whole concept and idea, even the word itself is a morphic field that carries an energy. So once I got out of it, and I used the story that it's like, I felt like you know, like a tornado. I was in a tornado, like a cow, you know, I was like a tornado coming across a field, picks up a cow and moves on and then spits it out into a field 3 counties away. And all of a sudden I was like, ouch. And I was like, whoa. But I saw it. I saw it for what it was. And then I was not in its gravitational pull. I was in its orbit. And so everything in our lives is a morphic field, even our bodies, our lives, our relationships, big systems, you know, economics, politics, religion, Western medicine. These are all powerful, fueled by money and fear that keep us sucked in. So when you can see that and pull out, then you're sovereign and free, and you can begin to make choices. So everything about us, we are full of little morphic fields. There are systems of our body, our biological, biochemical systems are all little morphic fields that talk to each other and work together. The morphic field of where you live, of the work you do. Professions have overarching morphic fields. The morphic field of being a man or a woman carries a whole lot of information and programming. We're going to talk about that next week. So how we can pull out of that to see what we've been so blindly sucked into. So the particles and the waves coalesce into these fields, and this is what gives rise to what is. And then when these fields bump into each other, say my field meets your field, and we have this wonderful connection. And so where my energy field touches your energy field, it creates an interference pattern, because there's a new pattern that forms as the spin, because it's all in spin, it creates a new field. And sometimes they're harmonious and it creates something wonderful. We say that the whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. So it creates a bigger field. So we're better together than we are apart. But sometimes you are up against someone and they're vibrating this way and you're vibrating this way, and you meet and it's like, ugh, it repels because it hurts, it's itchy, it's antsy, it's icky, it doesn't, ooh, nasty. And so you're just not in vibrational frequency. Doesn't mean they're a horrible, bad person. Well, they could be, that could be, but stepping out of judgment, their energy just doesn't work with mine. It's not harmonious. But one of the things Dr. Garcia says, that we have the power to harmonize our fields, to bring some coalescence into that space in between. Doesn't mean I'm changing that person to make them like me, or I'm changing to be like them. I'm not collapsing into their field and they're not collapsing into mine. But we set up this harmony whereby communication can happen. We have the ability, once we see, you can play with this stuff. And I do it. When people are lying on that breathwork mat, I am just moving in my hands. I'm doing all this weird stuff with my hands, and I'm shifting and moving energy because I see swirling patterns, and I'm pulling it out of them so that they can be more coherent in themselves. So that's another piece of it, is that coherence, where everything is flowing and communicating within yourself first. There are parts of us all that aren't quite coherent with kind of the big picture of who we are, those unmet desires that we're afraid to follow, those deep fears, all that stuff, the seeming failures that we're not there yet. There's still some more work to be done to be brought into this nice phase coherence within yourself, and then within your world. And that's the progression of how we grow and evolve. So another piece is entanglement. So it's kind of a different take on interference patterns, because interference patterns means that you've got an energy field and you've got an energy field, and they're coming together, and there's information being transferred, kind of like wakes of a boat on a lake. So you've got a wake coming that has a pattern, and you've got another boat that comes and it has a pattern. When they hit, you can see that there's a different pattern, a wave pattern on the surface of the water. So that's what's actually happening here. So the other piece is entanglement, where you sort of collapse open your sovereign energy field. And a lot of times we feel we should, especially women, we sort of, we're too open, and we allow ourselves to get entangled. And then we think, oh God, but I love him. Even though he's a slimy bastard, but I love him. That's because his energy has got like tentacles, and it's messing up your energy field. And the same way, when we're stuck in a life that doesn't work for us, we have collapsed open our sovereignty as an energy being and allowed the tentacles to come in. So we're entangled. And that's another thing that you'll do, and I do, when someone is lying down there. Sometimes you have to go in and untangle. It's like these dark brown rooty things that are just all like ugh, messed up. It's like, okay, find the knot and just get that stuff out of there, so that this person has some space to think clearly and make a clear decision. So this is seeing all this from the perspective of quantum physics. And there is no time and no space. So whenever it happened, you can go in and rescue that little boy or girl and bring them home. You can collapse the field between present time reality and wherever you need to go. And sometimes I'll feel with my hand, where is the one? Where, right there, right there. Okay, collapse the energy connection and bring them together. We could do anything like that when you work at that quantum physics level. It's amazing. When I did the cancer thing, I went back and I found where did the first cancer cell start multiplying? Right there, right there. Okay, go back right before that, grab her, link her up, and bring her forward and drop her into this life. So that's how I did that. So the cancer never happened in an energetic sense. It's been erased from my field entirely. So that's just we're spending 5 weeks in module 2 on this stuff, and now you know why. So the way we go into this is through unplugging, as I showed you, unplugging our judgment, our thoughts, dropping into the neutrality of the heart space, getting out of the head that says, oh, it's impossible, and blah, 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 blah. The yeah buts. Remember the yeah buts? Yeah, I'd like to have that. I really, my God, I'm going to die if I stay in this life. I mean, I gotta. Yeah, but, and it goes on. They're like little gremlins, like little furry, kicky things that run around and go, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but. So whatever you want, whatever you desire, whatever you think you would make you feel good. Yeah, but you can't. You're too old. You don't have enough money. You're whatever. Yeah, buts. Don't let the yeah, buts ruin your dreams. So I want to say just a thing that about the field of the heart. And I want to make an important distinction here. And I'm going to have you feel into this. And this is going to be kind of a closing and a winding up here. The field of the heart, the big field of the heart, is an antenna, a scalar wave antenna that connects fully to what I believe is the mother of all torsion fields, which is source consciousness, that's emitting all this stuff. This is the Big Bang. It's emitting. This is the sea of consciousness is emitting out of this one field of awareness, this spinning torsion field of awareness. These waves are coming at us, and we're feeling them. And we drop in and open that part of us. We connect with that. It's a different thing to drop into your heart. Our little human hearts can only hold and do so much. So let's do a quick little experiment. And I want you to drop down into, as we've done before, your heart. And I want you to feel the heart of you. And breathe into it. Notice the difference. Notice that this heart feels a little smaller, a little bit more vulnerable. Maybe a little tired. Or a lot tired. It may be somewhat confused or guarded. And just notice those feelings and look upon them with tenderness and compassion, as if you're looking perhaps at a little frightened puppy or kitten or a newborn infant. And breathe in and out of that and look at it with caring. Good. And now I want you to drop down having a sense of this immensity of what we've been talking about. I want you come back out of your heart, have a sense of the immensity of the universe above you, behind you, surrounding you. Maybe you'll even feel it in you. And now drop down and feel the field of the heart. And breathe into that and feel the immensity of the power of this torsion field of your heart chakra, spinning and opening. Feel it both taking in the energies of the universe and emitting them back again to the universe. Feel it. Feel that the universe is so amazingly full of totally unconditional love for you. Feel that touching you. Feel the living presence of this universe, this source, this divine presence, consciousness. Feel it enveloping you, and feel the understanding and the acceptance with which you are being completely filled. And you may feel your body softening, relaxing, perhaps even expanding as you may even feel yourself dissolving a little bit. The boundaries of your body dissolving into the beauty and immensity. Know that this is who and what you truly are. And know that you agreed to come into the human experience you know as yourself, to walk through exactly the path that you're walking. But instead of being sent out on your own to figure it out, you are now being given a set of tools, and you are being given basically the keys to unlock the codes by which you can create magic and miracles in this life and step into fully your divine inheritance as this powerful energy being manifesting itself in human form in this life that you know of as you and your life. And so breathe in and absorb the energies of possibility. Absorb the love, the understanding, the support, the acceptance, the guidance. Feel every one of your chakras opening and say yes. Breathe it into every one of your chakras, the top of your head, your forehead, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, your navel area, and the perineum that you're sitting on. Your hands and your feet. And allow yourself to be filled and transformed with the limitless power of this universal self that you indeed truly are. Good. And then feel the transmission of that energy out through your energy field into the room, into the world, into the people that you work and live with, into your world. And allow the energies to harmonize, to bring all into synchronization, to support you in your forward momentum toward creating and manifesting the life of your dreams. And taking a breath Now allowing your brain to stay heavy, heavy in your head, allowing the weight of your focus and awareness to be down deep in your heart and solar plexus. Taking a breath into the heart there. Beginning to come back into the room. But as you open your eyes, feel as though that immense being that you are is looking out at the world through your eyes and through your heart. And notice the difference in how that feels. So it is. So it is. So enjoy this, everyone, and great blessings to you until we meet again. Blessings.